Pack your guitar and leave." Those words cut through our living room like broken glass. My father, Judge Rafael Cortez, pointed at my guitar case like it was evidence of a crime. Thunder rumbled outside, matching the storm in his eyes. I just told him I wasn't going to law school, that I'd been accepted to the music conservatory instead. His face turned red, veins visible on his forehead. "You're not my daughter if you walk out that door," he said, his voice cold and final. My mother stood by the window, silent as always, her hands twisted together. When I reached for my sheet music on the coffee table, he grabbed it first. The sound of paper tearing filled the room. "You're choosing noise over legacy," he spat, throwing the pieces at my feet. I knelt down, gathering the torn pages with shaking hands. My songs, my dreams, scattered like trash. "Then I guess legacy doesn't love me," I whispered, standing up. I picked up my guitar case and walked toward the door. The rain had started, hard and angry against the windows. My name is Lila Cortez, and the day he disowned me was the day I started writing songs about him. The couch at my friend's apartment smelled like old pizza and regret. Rain hammered the windows while I sat in borrowed clothes, staring at my phone. One voicemail from my father. "Don't come home." Just 3 words delivered like a court sentence. I played it again, listening to the silence that followed. That silence became my first real lyric. I opened my notes app and typed through tears. The sound of giving up sounds like nothing at all. My fingers were still shaking when I hummed a melody, recording it on my cracked phone screen. It wasn't pretty, but it was honest. Outside, car lights swept across the ceiling. Each one made me think he'd changed his mind, that he'd come to apologize. None of them stopped. At midnight, my phone buzzed. My mother's text lit up the dark room. "Don't contact us again, he means it." I read it 5 times, waiting for the words to change. They didn't. I saved the message, then opened my voice memos. If this was it, if I really was alone now, then every moment would become material. Every wound would turn into words. The cafe smelled like burnt espresso and broken dreams. I stood on the tiny stage, guitar strap digging into my shoulder, playing for tips. Crumpled dollar bills sat in my open case, maybe $8 total after 2 hours. The audience was small. A couple on their phones, an old man reading the paper, and a businessman in the corner who kept glancing at his watch. When I finished my original song, the couple clapped politely. The businessman approached as I packed up. "You're talented," he said, then paused. "But you'll never make it in this industry with that last name." I froze. "What? Your father's a judge, right? Famous one, too. People will think you're riding his coattails or rebelling for attention. You need a fresh start." He walked away before I could respond. That night, lying on the couch again, I made a decision. If my father's name was a curse, I'd leave it behind. By morning, I had a new stage name, Lila Ray. It felt like freedom. Like becoming someone who could succeed on her own terms, not in his shadow or his shame. The TV in the bar was too loud, but I couldn't look away. My father sat in a crisp suit, smiling at the local news host. "So Judge Cortez, tell us about your children." His smile widened with pride. "My son just started law school at Harvard, following in my footsteps. We're very proud." "And your daughter?" the host asked. My father's expression shifted slightly. "One child chose a different path. Let's just say she's chasing songs instead of sense." The host laughed. "Ah, the artistic type." My father nodded, his voice dripping with disappointment. "Some people throw away brilliant minds for noise, that's all I'll say." The bartender glanced at me. "You okay?" I wasn't. My hands gripped the glass too tight. The interview continued, but I couldn't hear anything over the ringing in my ears. When it ended, I left cash on the bar and walked out into the cold night. In the parking lot, I pulled out my phone and recorded a voice memo. "Fine. You want a lost cause. I'll make sure you hear my music, whether you like it or not." That promise became my fuel. The garage smelled like motor oil and ambition. 4 of us crammed into the space, setting up microphones with duct tape and hope. My new roommates were musicians too, all of us broke and hungry for a break. We called ourselves Paper Houses after one of my songs. For weeks we practiced, recorded rough demos, and submitted them everywhere. Small labels, big labels, random producers we found online. Most never responded. The rejections that did come were brutal, too personal. Not commercial enough, no clear hook. Then one morning I got an email from an indie label. They'd listened to Paper Houses. "We appreciate the raw emotion, but this feels like a diary entry, not a song. We're passing." I read it to the band during practice. Our drummer, Marcus, shook his head. "They don't get it." "They will," I said, but I wasn't sure I believed it. That night, I fell asleep in the garage, guitar across my lap. When I woke up, Marcus was uploading something to YouTube. "What are you doing?" "Putting us out there," he said. "Except the account wasn't under our band name. It was under his. Just trust me," he said. "This is how we get noticed." The song went viral in 3 days. Paper Houses hit 50,000 views, then 100,000. Comments flooded in. "Who is this? This is amazing. Why haven't I heard this before?" I watched the numbers climb with growing horror. Because Marcus had uploaded it under his name alone. No mention of me. No mention of the band. When I confronted him, he was defensive. "I was helping us. You should thank me. Thank you. I wrote that song. Those are my words, my pain." He shrugged. "And now people are hearing it. Isn't that what you wanted? Not like this." I grabbed my guitar and walked out. Behind me, Marcus called after me. "You'll thank me when you're famous." But fame built on lies wasn't fame at all. It was just another betrayal. That night in a cheap motel room, I made a decision. If people were going to steal my voice, I'd create under a name so anonymous, even thieves wouldn't find me. I'd reclaim my work one song at a time. The right way. My way. The motel room smelled like cigarettes and regret. I sat on the thin mattress, surrounded by old letters from my father. They dated back years. "Apply to law school. You have potential. Don't waste it on childish fantasies." I'd kept everyone, hoping someday they'd feel less like weapons. They didn't. One by one, I held them over the cheap lighter I'd bought from the gas station. The paper curled and blackened, words disappearing into ash. Each letter burned felt like releasing a piece of his control over me. As the smoke rose, I hummed a melody, low and haunting. Like a funeral for the daughter he wanted me to be. The ashes scattered across the desk, gray and final. I grabbed my notebook and started writing. Smoke for silence, burned for peace. You wanted me quiet, so I'll let you grieve. The song poured out in 20 minutes. Raw, angry, beautiful. When I finished, I recorded it on my phone, my voice shaking but strong. This one wasn't for anyone else. This was mine. This was proof I was still here, still breathing, still making noise. SoundCloud felt like screaming into the void. I uploaded Smoke for silence under the name El Rey, no photo, no bio, just the song. For 2 days, nothing happened. Then 50 plays, then 500. By the end of the week, it had gone past 10,000. Comments poured in. "Who is this artist? I need more. This is hauntingly beautiful." Then an email arrived. Subject line, "We need to talk." The sender was someone named Dominic Torres, a small-time producer from Oakland. "I've been in this industry for 15 years, and I know talent when I hear it. Your voice sounds familiar. Ever been on TV?" My stomach dropped. I almost deleted the email. But desperation made me respond. "No, just trying to make music." His reply came fast. "Good, stay mysterious. People love a ghost story. Let's meet." We met at a coffee shop downtown. Dominic was older, maybe 40, with tired eyes and a worn leather jacket. He slid a contract across the table. "I can't make you famous overnight, but I can get your songs in front of people who matter." "What's the catch?" "No credit." "Not yet. You write, they perform. It's how the industry works." I stared at the paper, my father's voice echoing. "Noise." I signed anyway. Ghostwriting felt like being invisible on purpose. I wrote songs in my tiny apartment, sent them to Dominic, and watched other artists perform them. No credit, just checks that barely covered rent. One song, Golden Walls, got picked up by a rising pop star named Zara Vale. She was young, 22, with a voice like honey and a team behind her. When her version dropped, it exploded. Radio play, streaming charts, magazine covers. I watched from my couch, eating ramen, knowing every word came from my notebook. Golden Walls was about my father. "You built walls of gold to keep me out, but I'm still standing, I'm still loud." Zara performed it on late-night shows, her voice confident and bright. Interviewers asked what inspired it. She smiled and said something vague about finding yourself. I wanted to scream, "That's my story." But the NDA kept me silent. Dominic called, excited. "This is just the beginning." Zara's team wants more. Keep writing. So I did. Song after song, pouring my pain into melodies someone else would claim. It was survival. But every time I heard my words from someone else's mouth, a piece of me disappeared. I wondered how long I could do this. How long before I forgot my own voice. The email from my mother had no subject line, just an audio file. I almost deleted it. We hadn't spoken in over a year, not since that text telling me to disappear. But curiosity won. I downloaded it. The recording was scratchy, like she'd hidden her phone under the table. My father's voice came through first. "What is this garbage on the radio?" My brother laughed. "It's that new Zara Vale song. Everyone loves it, my father scoffed. Who writes this? Walls of gold, I'm still loud. It's whining set to music. My mother's voice quiet. Maybe she's expressing something real. Oh please, my father said. Real talent doesn't need to scream about feelings. This is manufactured emotion for empty minds. The recording ended. I sat frozen, staring at my phone. He'd mocked my song, my story, without knowing it was mine. I should have felt angry. Instead, I started laughing, then crying, then both at once. I texted my mother back. Did you know? Her response took an hour. Know what? That I wrote that song, that every word is about him. She didn't reply again. That night, I whispered to the empty room, "You just said my name without knowing, Dad. You finally heard me." Reddit was where everything changed. A user named Sound Detective posted in a music forum. Anyone else notice all of Zara Vale's best songs have the same writing style, same emotional depth? I think there's a ghostwriter, someone responded. Username L Ray has writing credits on some smaller tracks. Same vibe, could be them. The thread exploded. Soon, Twitter picked it up. Music blogs wrote speculation pieces. The mysterious L Ray behind Zara Vale's biggest hits. My inbox flooded with interview requests, podcast invitations, collaboration offers. I couldn't respond to any of them. The NDA was a cage and I'd locked myself inside. Dominic called, angry, "You need to stay quiet. This attention is good for Zara, bad for you. Silence is your brand now." Some brand, I said bitterly, being erased. That's the job, take it or leave it. I almost left. Almost tore up the contract and posted everything online. But I needed the money. Needed to survive. So I stayed silent while strangers debated my existence. While my father, somewhere, probably never made the connection. While the world wondered who L Ray was, I sat alone, writing another song I'd never get to sing. The phone call came at 2 a.m. My father's number lit up my screen for the first time in 18 months. I answered without thinking. "Leela." His voice was tight. "Stop whatever scandal you're involved in." "What? This L Ray nonsense. People are asking me about it, asking if my daughter is some secret songwriter. It's embarrassing." I laughed, sharp and cold. "Embarrassing? You're embarrassed? I told you to make something of yourself, not hide behind initials like a coward." I sat up in bed, anger replacing sleep. "You stopped having the right to be embarrassed by me when you stopped calling me your daughter." "Leela, don't know, you don't get to do this. You threw me out. You called my music noise. And now you're upset because people might connect me to success?" He was quiet for a moment. "This isn't success. This is controversy." "Exactly. Because you can't handle the idea that I made it without you, that your noise actually means something." I hung up. My hands shook, but this time with power, not fear. He'd called because he was losing control of the narrative. Because somewhere, deep down, he knew. And that terrified him more than my failure ever could. I saved his number under silence and went back to sleep. The invitation came through Dominic. "Zara wants to meet you. She's doing a live concert in Los Angeles. Big venue. She wants you backstage. Why? She knows you wrote Golden Walls, wants to thank you in person." My heart raced. After months of invisibility, someone wanted to acknowledge me. I booked a bus ticket I couldn't afford and headed to California. The venue was massive, thousands of seats, lights everywhere. Backstage felt like a maze of equipment and important people. Zara found me near the dressing rooms. She was smaller in person, more nervous. "You're L Ray?" she asked. I nodded. "Your songs," she said, her voice soft. "They saved me. I was ready to quit music when Golden Walls landed in my inbox. The pain in those lyrics, the strength it gave me purpose. Thank you." She hugged me, and for the first time in months, I felt seen. "Tonight I'm performing it," she continued. "I want you to watch from side stage. Be there when I sing your words." I agreed, trying not to cry. That night I stood in the wings as Zara took the stage. The crowd roared. She introduced Golden Walls and the opening notes filled the arena. My words, my pain, echoing through thousands of voices singing along. I closed my eyes and let myself feel it. This was my music, finally heard. My mother called while I stood backstage. Her voice was a whisper. "Leela, I need to tell you something." "What?" "Your father is in Los Angeles tonight. There's a Law Foundation gala at the same venue as that concert you mentioned." My blood went cold. Same venue, different entrance, but yes. The building hosts multiple events. He's receiving some award for his career. She paused. "I thought you should know." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because," she said quietly, "maybe it's time he saw what you've become." The call ended. I stood frozen, the crowd noise distant behind me. My father was here, in the same building. attending some celebration of his legacy while I stood in the shadows of mine. Zara noticed my expression. "You okay?" I nodded, lying, "Fine, just nervous." She smiled. "Don't be. Tonight you're not hiding anymore." But I was hiding. Still ghostwriting, still anonymous, still the daughter who chose noise over legacy. Except now, the walls between his world and mine were tissue thin. One hallway, one wrong turn, and everything would collide. I took a deep breath and checked my reflection in a nearby mirror. Red lipstick, dark eyes, borrowed confidence. "You're not noise," I told myself. "You're music." And tonight, maybe he'd finally hear it. The backstage hallway smelled like champagne and ambition. I walked toward the stage entrance, heart pounding. Zara was on in 10 minutes, then I saw him. My father in his tailored suit talking with other lawyers near the gala entrance. He looked older, grayer, but still carried himself like someone who owned every room he entered. I froze. He hadn't seen me yet. I could turn around, disappear. Then Zara appeared beside me, breathless. "There you are. Come on, I want to introduce you to someone." She grabbed my hand, pulling me forward. Before I could protest, we were standing in front of my father and his colleagues. Zara's energy was infectious. "Judge Cortez, right? My manager said you're the guest of honor tonight. This is El Rey, the writer behind Golden Walls." My father's eyes landed on me. For a moment, nothing. Then recognition flickered across his face like lightning. "What did you just say?" he asked, his voice thin. His colleagues looked confused. His face had drained of color. "Leela." "Your daughter's name is Leela," one of them said, reading something on their phone. "El Rey, Leela Cortez, this is her, isn't it?" My father's mouth opened, but no sound came. Zara looked between us, confused. "Wait, you two know each other." The hallway suddenly felt too small, too bright, too real. Everything was colliding. Exactly like my mother warned. Exactly like I'd feared. Exactly like I'd secretly hoped. The silence stretched like wire about to snap. My father stared at me, his colleagues whispering. Zara still didn't understand. I cleared my throat. "Hello, Dad." The words felt foreign. His face shifted through emotions. Shock, confusion, anger, something else I couldn't name. "You," he finally said. "You wrote that song." I lifted my chin. "I've written a lot of songs. Golden Walls is one of them, but you said," he gestured vaguely, "you were nobody. Still trying to make it. I am making it. Just not the way you wanted." Zara stepped between us, protective. "Judge Cortez, your daughter is incredibly talented. She's the reason my career exists." My father's jaw tightened. His colleagues were filming on their phones now. This was becoming a moment, a scene, a story people would share. "I need to go," he said abruptly. "The gala, I have an award to accept." "Congratulations," I said quietly. He flinched like I'd hit him, then walked away, his shoulders stiff. Zara touched my arm. "That was your father." I nodded, watching him disappear into the crowd. The man who disowned me for choosing music. She was quiet for a moment. "Then we should get to the stage. Let's show him what noise sounds like." We walked toward the lights together. The stage was enormous. Thousands of faces in the dark, phones raised like stars. Zara stepped into the spotlight, the crowd erupting. I stood in the wings, hands shaking. She began speaking. "Tonight's performance is special. The song you're about to hear was written by someone extraordinary, someone who turned pain into power. Please welcome to the stage, El Rey." My legs moved before my brain caught up. The lights were blinding, the noise deafening. Zara handed me a microphone. I looked out at the crowd, then toward the side where the gala attendees had started filtering in, curious about the noise. My father stood near the back, frozen. "This song," I said, my voice shaking, "is called Golden Walls. It's about being locked out of the places you're supposed to belong, about building your own doors." Zara started playing. I closed my eyes and sang. "You built walls of gold to keep me out, but I'm still standing, I'm still loud." My voice cracked on the first verse, then steadied. The crowd sang along, thousands of voices joining mine. When I opened my eyes, cameras were everywhere, and in the back my father stood perfectly still, his face unreadable. The song ended. The crowd exploded. Zara hugged me, and together we bowed. For the first time, I wasn't invisible. I was exactly who I'd fought to become. The video went viral by morning. Someone had filmed my father's face during the performance, split screen with me on stage. The expressions were devastating. Shock, regret, something like grief. The caption read, "Judge discovers his disowned daughter wrote the song he publicly mocked." By noon, it had 10 million views. News outlets picked it up. Entertainment blogs, music magazines, even legal journals. The Cortez family shock became a trending topic. My phone exploded with notifications. Interview requests, concert offers, people sharing their own stories of family rejection. Dominic called ecstatic. The NDA's void now. This publicity is bigger than any contract. You're officially El Rey. You're officially you. I sat in my apartment watching the video loop. My father's face frozen in that moment of realization. Part of me felt vindicated. The larger part felt sad. That evening, someone knocked on my door. I checked the peephole. My father stood there, alone, looking smaller than I remembered. I opened the door slowly. What do you want? He wouldn't meet my eyes to talk. I don't think we have anything to say. Please, Leela. His voice cracked. I let him in. We sat in painful silence. Finally, he spoke. You humiliated me. I stared at him, disbelief rising. I humiliated you. You disowned me. You called my life's work noise. The world just found out what you lost. That's not humiliation. That's consequence. He stood abruptly. You'll regret this. Then he left, the door slamming behind him. But I wouldn't regret it. Not ever. 3 months passed like a fever dream. Golden Walls climbed the charts. Zara and I performed it together on television. My face was everywhere. Interviews, podcasts, magazine covers. The disowned daughter who became a secret hit maker. Then the nomination came. Song of the Year, Grammy Awards, my name listed officially, Leela Ray Cortez. I read it 20 times, still not believing it. Dominic called immediately. You did it. You actually did it. I sat on my apartment floor, holding the notification email. After everything, after sleeping in my car, ghostwriting in shadows, burning my father's letters in motel rooms, my music was nominated for the highest honor in the industry. The news spread fast. My father issued a public statement through his lawyer's office. I've always been proud of my daughter's determination. Her hard work has clearly paid off. I read it and laughed bitterly. Proud, after disowning me. After calling me a lost cause on television, after mocking the very song that was now nominated. The internet wasn't buying it. Old clips resurfaced. His TV interview calling music noise. Comments from colleagues about his disappointment in his artistic daughter. Think pieces about toxic parenting. His carefully built reputation started cracking. A journalist reached out to me. Would you like to comment on your father's statement? I thought for a long time, then replied simply, I forgive him. Because I did. Not for him, for me, so I could finally let go. Grammy night arrived like a dream I couldn't wake from. The dress, the lights, the red carpet filled with people I'd only seen on screens. Zara walked beside me, squeezing my hand. You nervous? Terrified, I admitted. Good. That means you care. The arena was massive. Thousands of seats, celebrities everywhere. I found my spot in the nominee section, trying to breathe. When they announced Song of the Year, my heart stopped. And the Grammy goes to, the presenter opened the envelope, Golden Walls, written by Leela Ray Cortez. The world exploded into light and sound. Zara screamed beside me. I stood on shaking legs and walked toward the stage, the longest walk of my life. Behind me, somewhere in the audience, was my father. He'd come as a guest of the Law Foundation again. Full circle, cruel irony. I reached the stage, accepted the golden gramophone, its weight surprising. The microphone was live. Thank you, I began, my voice steadier than expected. This song came from a dark place. From being told I wasn't enough, that my dreams were too loud. I paused, finding the camera. This is for everyone who was told their voice didn't matter. Keep singing, keep creating, keep being loud. The crowd erupted. I walked off stage, Grammy in hand, finally free. Not with vengeance, with victory and grace. Backstage was chaos. Photographers, reporters, congratulations from artists I'd idolized. Zara found me first, tears streaming. We did it, you did it. Then my phone buzzed, a text from my mother. I'm so proud of you. I saw you shine. Another text followed. Your father left early. He looked broken. I should have felt satisfaction. Instead, I felt empty. Like finishing a race only to realize the person you'd been running from was never really chasing you. They were just standing still while you ran toward yourself. A reporter approached. How does it feel to prove your father wrong? I considered the question. This isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving myself right. That night after the parties and the celebrations, I sat alone in my hotel room. The Grammy sat on the nightstand, catching the city lights. I picked up my guitar and played the opening chords of a new song, one without anger, without pain, just music for music's sake. Pure and uncomplicated. The daughter my father wanted was gone, but the woman I'd become was better, stronger, free. And finally, after everything, I could hear my own voice clearly. Not as noise, as exactly what it always was. Music worth listening to, Worth fighting for, worth being disowned for, worth everything. The weeks after the Grammys felt surreal. My phone never stopped buzzing. Concert offers, record deals, collaboration requests from artists I'd grown up listening to. But the strangest messages came from my father's colleagues and friends, apologizing for not knowing my story, praising my talent, asking if I'd consider speaking at various events. My father stayed silent. No calls, no texts, no public statements. His earlier claim of pride had been drowned out by the evidence of his rejection. Videos of that TV interview played everywhere. Think pieces analyzed his behavior. The legal community was quietly distancing themselves. His reputation wasn't destroyed, but it was cracked, tarnished. A journalist called it the cost of closed-mindedness. Then one morning, a letter arrived. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. My father's precise, judicial script. Inside was a single page. "Leela," it began. "I have spent months trying to find the right words. There are none. What I did to you was unforgivable. I told myself I was protecting you from a difficult life, but I was protecting my ego from uncertainty. You proved me wrong in every way possible. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve a response. I only hope you know that every song I hear now, every melody, I wonder if it's yours, and I listen differently. Your father." I folded the letter carefully and placed it in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd respond, but not today. Today was about moving forward. My first headlining concert sold out in minutes. The venue was smaller than Zara's arena shows, but it was mine. Every seat filled with people who came specifically to hear me. Not a ghostwriter, not a hidden name, me. Backstage, I paced nervously. My band, new musicians I'd carefully chosen, warmed up nearby. Zara had sent flowers with a note, "Show them who you always were." When the lights dimmed, the crowd roared. I walked on stage, guitar in hand, and looked out at the sea of faces. "Some of you know my story," I said into the microphone. "Some of you just know my songs. Either way, thank you for listening." I played Golden Walls first. The crowd sang every word, their voices lifting mine. Then I played Smoke for Silence, the song I'd written in that motel room, burning my father's letters. I played Paper Houses, the song my former bandmate had stolen. Each one felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. Between songs, I told stories. The couch I'd slept on. The cafe tips that kept me alive. The moment I changed my name, the audience listened, rapt. After the final song, I stood in the silence before the applause. "This is for the girl who left home with just a guitar," I said. "She'd be proud of us." The crowd erupted. I bowed and left the stage, tears streaming down my face, because that girl was proud. She was finally completely proud. 6 months after the Grammys, I released my first album under my own name. Every song written from my perspective, my pain, my joy. No more hiding. The album debuted at number 3 on the charts. Critics called it devastatingly honest and a triumph of vulnerability. My favorite review said simply, "This is what it sounds like when noise becomes music." I went on tour. Small venues at first, then larger ones. Each night, I looked out at crowds who sang my words back to me, who understood the pain behind the melodies, who had their own stories of rejection and redemption. After a show in San Francisco, a young woman waited by the stage door. She held a guitar case. "My parents want me to be a doctor," she said, tears in her eyes, "but I want this. I want music. What do I do?" I signed her guitar case and wrote, "Follow the noise. It leads somewhere beautiful." She thanked me and disappeared into the night. I watched her go, remembering myself at that age. Scared and certain in equal measure. My phone buzzed, a text from my mother. "Your father watched your concert on television tonight. He didn't say anything, just watched. Then went to his study and closed the door. I heard him crying. I read it twice. Then put my phone away. Some distances take longer to cross than others, but at least now he was listening." The envelope arrived on a Tuesday. Thick cream paper, my father's handwriting on the front. Inside was a note, shorter than his letter, but somehow heavier. "Leela, I was wrong. I hear you now. Not just your music. You, the daughter I should have protected, not rejected. I don't expect you to respond or forgive. I only needed you to know that I finally understand. What I called noise was actually the sound of someone finding their voice. And it's beautiful. I'm sorry I wasn't there to help you find it. Your father." Below his signature was a PS, "I've started attending your concerts." From the back, "I don't want to intrude, but I want to hear every word." I set the letter down and looked at my Grammy, sitting on the shelf beside my first guitar. The room was quiet except for the hum of the city outside. Part of me wanted to stay angry, to hold on to the pain that had fueled so many songs. but another part, a growing part, was ready to let it go. I picked up my guitar and played the opening chords of a new song, one about forgiveness, about parents being human and children growing beyond expectation, about the space between noise and music where understanding lives. It wasn't finished yet, but it would be, because that's what I did. I took the broken pieces and made them sing. I turned the silence into sound. And finally, after everything, my father was listening, not because he had to, not because the world was watching, because he wanted to hear me, and maybe eventually that would be enough. The camera of my mind faded as I strummed. Not the end, just a new beginning. The kind written in music instead of words. The kind that sounds like peace.